Nintendo Land is a Wii U launch title that, like Wii Sports before it, was designed to show off the console's new control scheme. Unlike Wii Sports, Nintendo Land is an all-around fantastic game I expect to play long after the launch period and won't just use it to appease any casual friend or family member that visits. Although the game at first appears to be a minigame collection, calling any of the attractions mini does not do them justice. I've already put hours into almost every one, and plan to sit down with it all night next time I get a group together. Nintendo Land is designed as a theme park of sorts, hosting 12 exhibits based on Nintendo IPs. The host of the park is a hovering monitor named Monita, who is not only horrifying in her dead robotic voice, but emulates Navi in her incessant repetition of information. Most of the time she can be skipped, but expect to hear things like this a lot.
This concludes the control segment of my tutorial. I hope it was exciting.
The park itself is a circular area where Miiverse Miis congregate, and you can visit each attraction as well as purchase collectibles. However, after playing through your third game or so, Monita allows you to access the quick menu, removing the need for the park entirely. Personally, I enjoy the collectibles and Miis too much, so unless I'm in a hurry I have no problem exploring the fairground. The tower in the middle leads up to the actual minigame, where coins collected from the games are spent to acquire collectibles. That I will get to at the end. The 12 attractions come in 3 varieties: team, competitive, and solo attractions. Team attractions can be played alone or with up to 5 people and include The Legend of Zelda Battle Quest, Pikmin Adventure, and Metroid Blast. Competitive attractions require at least 2 players, but can also work up to 5. These are Mario Chase, Luigi's Ghost Mansion, and Animal Crossing Sweet Day. Solo attractions, as their name implies, are designed for a single-player experience. The most plentiful group, these include Yoshi's Fruit Cart, Octopus Dance, Donkey Kong's Crash Course, Takamaru's Ninja Castle, Captain Falcon's Twister Race, and Balloon Trip Breeze. Along with all of those is an attraction tour that has players competing for the top score in 3 to 9 games, depending on how long they want to play. Each attraction puts your Mii into an appropriately themed costume, and while most are very neat looking, the lack of arms in the Zelda one, feet as the ghost in Luigi's Mansion, and whatever the hell this is in Donkey Kong are just unnerving. Regardless, they definitely add life to the Miis and help to bring them into the style of the world. I could talk at length about almost each game individually, and even though I'm mostly just addressing the game mechanics, 12 games is a lot to get through, so feel free to skip around. The Legend of Zelda Battle Quest is an on-rails adventure game played in short stages. I know most people cringe at the phrase on rails, but here it works perfectly. The Wii U gamepad player takes control of the archer, using the joysticks and motion controls to aim and fire at enemies. Wii Motion Plus players take control of sword and shield wielding Miis, using the same sword controls as Skyward Sword with the B trigger to block with the shield. Players work as a team to progress through a level defeating cloth enemies such as Moblins, Choo-Choos, Kagroks, Tektites, and Skulltas. It wouldn't be Zelda without puzzles and bosses, both of which occur regularly. Most of the puzzles include hitting time switches in sync with other players. Bosses vary between large Moblins, Wizrobes, and the classic Beast Ganon at the end. Health is shared between all players, 6 hearts in total, but can occasionally be restocked by finding them in pots or enemies. Stages vary in difficulty depending on how many players there are and whether or not there is an archer. Enemy variety, numbers, and strength changes to suit the player group. The game definitely requires some cooperation and skill, but persistence pays off, and nothing feels better than picking up that Triforce after dying multiple times on a stage. A huge Zelda fan myself, I've played this game the most so far. The only thing I love more than the character designs is the soundtrack. Pikmin Adventure plays nearly identical to the main Pikmin games, with Captain Olimar traveling through the map and defeating enemies using his Pikmin army. The Wii U gamepad player takes control of the captain here, and has with him a group of Pikmin that increase in numbers and strength as you collect nectar throughout the stage. The Wiimote players control larger Pikmin Miis holding the controller NES style. They have the ability to run around, jump, and attack, and also level up their strength and speed with nectar. Trying to keep it simple, the Pikmin colors don't matter gameplay-wise. However, there are items such as hammers that attach to the Pikmin's flower, giving them a huge strength increase for a limited time. Each stage has a different goal, varying between surviving to the end, racing the clock, or defeating a boss. This is probably my favorite game on here, and easily has the most fun gameplay. While the goal is generally cooperation, There's a lot of room for competition between Olimar and the Pikmin Miis, as the only thing shared is health, with power-ups and nectar levels separate for each player. At the same time, Olimar still possesses his trademark whistle that calls not only his Pikmin, but the player Pikmin to him as well. This can quickly be used to grief, so teamwork is the key. Those of you with friends who you already know will spam that. Don't worry, the Pikmin players can jump right out of its grip. Metroid Blast is a team-based mission game or competitive versus game, depending on how you want to play. The Wii U gamepad is in control of Samus's gunship, able to fly around with the joysticks and aim and shoot using the motion controls and ZR trigger. Wiimote players play as Samus armored Miis, using a connected nunchuck to navigate, with the Wiimote in charge of aiming. I'd like to take a moment to comment on those controls and say that the Wiimote nunchuck combination here is just absolutely fantastic. The Wiimote uses a pointer to aim and B trigger to shoot, while the A button controls the dead zone aiming, which makes for some of the best shooter controls I've seen. In the mission stages, players must navigate the arenas in order to dispatch enemies, collect tokens, or defeat bosses. Competitive play sees the players teaming up on the gunship or fighting each other in third-person shooter matches. Familiar Metroid enemies such as Space Pirates, Ridley, and Kraid return to keep the challenge level fairly high. Monita even comments that this game is catered to expert players more than any other, and I believe her. Another favorite of mine, I haven't yet completed all the missions, but plan to get on it as soon as I can. First in the competitive attractions, we have Mario Chase. The Wii U gamepad player controls a Mario-dressed Mii with a full view of the map and opponents on the gamepad screen, while the Wiimote players control Toads tasked with catching Mario before the 2-minute time limit runs out. There are only 3 stages to choose from here, but they are varied enough. Playing with only 2 people, the game enlists 2 Yoshi carts to the Toads team to help them locate and incapacitate the Mario player, though the catching is still left to the Toad. Occasionally, a star will spawn in the center of the map that the Mario player can grab to become invincible for a limited time. Nintendo's asymmetrical gameplay definitely comes into play here, as well as the other competitive attractions, and while they all might seem similar, both sides feel balanced and make the player's best bet for victory focus more on their skills and planning instead of some biased mechanic. However, that doesn't mean that you won't scream bullshit when your opponent manages to outwit you by just enough. It's the kind of fun competition that has you followed up with, okay, one more round. Luigi's Ghost Mansion mixes things up, giving both the gamepad player and the Wiimote players power against each other. The Wii U gamepad player controls the Ghost, again able to see all the players on the map with the goal to tag them out 3 times. The Wiimote players are not without hope, as their flashlights not only reveal the Ghost, but stun and damage them as well, their goal being to bring the Ghost's health to 0 before it tags them out. Any less than 4 Wiimote players has Monitas roving around with flashlights and blocking hallways and generally making life for the Ghost miserable. Lightning occasionally flashes, illuminating parts of the map that, if containing the Ghost, reveal its position. On the flip side, Wiimote players only have limited power for their flashlight and must collect batteries to keep their beam strong. More strategy comes into play here, but it still feels balanced, except for the occasions where the Monitas trap the Ghost in the corner, seriously. Animal Crossing Sweet Day has the town guards attempting to stop animals from collecting candy and another tactical avoidance setup. The Wii U gamepad player controls both guards, one with each joystick, that can lunge at the animals using corresponding triggers. Wiimote players control their animal-styled Mii and attempt to collect enough candy while avoiding the guards who win after 3 successful takedowns. The amount of candy required to win depends on the number of players, where one animal needs only to put 15 pieces in designated stashes, 2 need to hold on to 30 pieces total. The catch is, the more candy an animal holds, the slower they move. The best strategy I found is playing the long game, knowing when to hold on to pieces and when to drop them all and flee. My favorite part of this game is the hilarious outfits, as regardless of the gender of the second animal Mii, they receive a very attractive pink squirrel costume. First off on the solo attractions, we have Yoshi's Fruit Cart, which is sadly not a stand filled with delicious fruit. Instead, we have one of the best, if not most difficult examples of the asymmetric control scheme Nintendo Land offers. The goal here is to collect all of the fruits on the map in order to unlock the door to the next stage. Occasionally, fruits need to be eaten in order, move around the field, or are interspersed with pits or bees. However, the difficulty arises not from that, but the fact that the gamepad does not display anything more than the start and goal locations. Using the TV and gamepad together, the player must draw a path for the cart that collects all the fruits correctly, avoids all the obstacles, and reaches the door. Sometimes the floor pattern will be helpful, but other times there are no points of reference and you are left on your own. Items such as chili buttons and check marks that display on both screens can help out, but are so uncommon they aren't worth hoping for. Octopus Dance is a Simon Says game based on Game & Watch. The instructor dances in a pattern to a beat that you need to copy. On the TV, you see the characters from the front, while the gamepad gives you a view from behind. This makes things easier, though occasionally the instructor will flip you around or the octopus will ink up the screen, requiring you to look at the TV for a while. Other than the music, I really don't like this game. but if you are a rhythm person, then maybe this is your thing. Donkey Kong's Crash Course is the very definition of trial and error. Using the gamepad to tilt the course and activate levers, the goal is to get the cart down to the final goal flag. The gamepad screen is a zoomed-in version of the TV, allowing for more precise navigation. Hitting a wall too fast or getting hit on the head destroys the vehicle, and it takes a lot of tries to finally perfect the run. To be honest, I only managed to get through all 10 areas on a fluke. I've yet to replicate it again. Takamaru's Ninja Castle is easily recognizable from the original E3 footage, and is pretty straightforward. Each scene is populated by ninjas of various abilities, and holding the gamepad sideways, you slide ninja stars at the origami enemies until they are defeated. Scrolls are collected in the stages, which grant different abilities, such as replacing the stars with bombs for a short period of time. Tilting up reloads the stars, though with a 50-star holding count, this fortunately doesn't need to be done very often. Captain Falcon's Twister Race is probably the first F-Zero related thing to come out of Nintendo since the GameCube era, not including Super Smash Bros. Of course. In this game, players steer a sideways gamepad with a top-down view of the track around obstacles and over boost pads in an attempt to reach the finish line in time. After each area of the course, a tunnel comes up that requires the player to look at the TV if they want to hit the hidden boost inside. The later stages contain moving obstacles and ramps that will launch you off the map should you hit them from a wrong angle. The game does get fairly difficult near the end, but the final area music is worth it. Balloon Trip Breeze plays exactly like you would imagine playing a DS game on the TV working. You control your Mii with the stylus directing the wind around him on the touchscreen. However, the touchscreen is zoomed in only to the character, so you'll need to watch the TV as you swipe the gamepad. As the game progresses, more enemies, spikes, and weather will impede your progress. I'm really impartial to the game, but I've only ever gotten through the second day. Now that you have amassed all those coins, it's time to spend them. By touching the giant monitor Monita face on top of the central tower, you are taken to an arcadey minigame where you attempt to light up all the holes by dropping coins into them. Completing a stage grants you an item block that can be opened in the park to reveal a collectible such as a statue, button, or music track for the jukebox. Stages vary in difficulty randomly, but expect to be spending hundreds of coins here really fast. Contrary to what the E3 footage looked like, Nintendo Land came out to a full title worthy of the $60 price tag, and easily surpassed Wii Sports in terms of a bundled game for the deluxe version owners like myself. Not only does each game deliver more content than what I expected, but it is very clear how much love Nintendo put into this game. The fitting, handmade art style, vibrant, detailed graphics, functional, precise controls, and fantastic soundtrack composed of original and remade pieces create a must-have launch title. It's not a system-selling killer app, but definitely a great start to a hopefully fantastic future lineup of games. If you are still unconvinced by the Wii U, I dare you to play this with some friends and not have fun.
One step.